just let y'all know. I'm not gonna be serious.
I love it. Just do it.
I just want to let y'all know.
Hey guys, welcome to another show. We're about to go live on Adverse Reaction. Myself, Danella. There's Aladdin, the Prince. Zoe walked around. I don't know what's happening, guys. Oh, I need to charge this computer. We are
celebrating Cinco de Mayo.
Yay, Cinco de Mayo. Let me say, I love Cinco de Mayo. I had a friend, she used to do these amazing Cinco de Mayo parties on the rooftop. It was freaking awesome.
Shout out to the company. That's all I'm gonna say.
Which company?
This one.
Oh, are you serious? Y'all had Cinco de Mayo?
Yes.
Shout out to this company. We all about to benefit from this Cinco de Mayo business. Thank you for thinking of us. He got a whole Fiesta cup.
Yeah, man. I gotta look.
It's amazing.
They still got more over there?
He gave us some.
Got my sombrero. I'm ready.
Sombrero.
I'm ready.
It sucks we have like serious topics tonight. Oh my goodness. Throwback first, then adverse and reverse. So adverse reaction throwback first at the top of the show. Zoe toss to it, and then adverse reaction coming right after that. So both before the commercial. Thank you. I'm so sorry I forgot. It'll be in like 2 minutes.
And bring home such good.
Oh dang, that's how y'all got down?
Yeah, this was in the
What?
It's still in there?
Yeah.
Well then why I only get this?
Oh, well, it's not that much.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
WOL.
And I ain't want to be late. I mean, I could squeeze some more out.
And we're trying to get some work done.
WPRS
Humid in here.
WKYS HD2
Oh, Zoe, let's let the people see Zoe. There's Zoe. Say hi.
Hello.
Okay, good.
Hello.
All right, guys, your ad is hilarious. If people like actually listening live knew this was happening, you guys know what's happening. They have no idea that this is happening.
Hello.
It's time for something new.
Adverse reaction.
Adverse reaction.
Adverse reaction.
Headphones are so loud.
Open up your mind, let your conscience free. Adverse reaction is a
You're so silly. I can't take you serious.
I know. I just want to be very clear.
Zoe's on Safari. Aladdin's like, leave it on, leave it
Oh,
on.
definitely leaving it on. All show.
It's a tough day. We're gonna need it.
Oh man.
It's a movement. Nights, 7 p.m.
WOL 1450 AM 95.9 FM.
Where information is.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If it's not your favorite show, it soon will be your favorite show. Adverse reaction. We have Aladdin the Prince. We have Danella C. Live for now. And Big Show.
Guys, it's gonna be a big heavy tonight. All right, so people say justice is blind. Well, you know what we say? We say that justice is blind as a bat. All right, and we say this because people that are punishment, it should fit the crime, but unfortunately, what we notice is that that is not true at all. So we're going to talk about that tonight.
All right. Well, tonight's show is being brought to you by Justice Fighters. The fight wages on.
It's Thursday, so let's throw it back to 2007. On September 20th, 2007, between 15,000 and 20,000 protesters marched in what was described as the largest civil rights demonstration in years. Why the protest? It's our adverse reaction throwback.
Adverse reaction throwback.
In December 2007, 6 Black students were charged with attempted murder and conspiracy following the beating of a white student. They faced up to 100 years in prison without parole.
What?
You know, we're talking about Jenna 6 from Jenna High School. This was in central Louisiana. The situation was they had said there had been racial tension starting back in August, where one of the students walked up to students sitting under a tree and saying, can Black students stay here or is it whites only?
Mhm.
Well, then following that conversation, they hung 3 nooses from that tree.
Right.
And so what the students say is that there had been tension for a while in that school. Well, it resulted came to a climax in December where a white student was beat up by 6 Black students. And what everyone was concerned with was, why were these students facing up to 100 years in prison without parole for a fight?
For a fight.
With hands,
It's crazy.
feet, hands, body parts.
Yeah.
Why would they be facing that when other students that were white
Well, and not just
were
that,
not facing that?
there were fights before that one, before the white kid got jumped. There were full-on brawls that were going on between the races. So none of those people got arrested.
Yes.
Nobody got locked up or nothing for that, for those fights that happened previous to that. So I guess this was the point. They was like, okay, enough is enough. But is it too
Mhm.
much?
It made national news, as Zoe mentioned. You know, people took to the streets. We saw a lot of radio personalities talking about it as well. Voices all gathered to say, these are students. This was a fight. Yes, it was violent, but why should these children be faced and charged as adults
Mhm.
and face up to 100 years in prison? Luckily, they ended up reducing the charges. Everybody ended up pleading guilty. Actually, one person was convicted, but they ended up reducing that, saying that he should have never been charged as an adult. I believe
Right.
that was Michael Bell
Mhm.
at the time. He was facing up to like 22 years in prison, but they ended up going back and saying, you're right, you should have not been charged as an adult. So everybody ended up following him after his trial, pleading out to lesser charges.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to lead us into today. What's happening today? Well, that's going to be Adverse in Reverse.
Adverse in reverse.
From defendant to defender, Theo Shaw, he was one of Genesis. Well, guess
Mhm.
what? He's now an officially lawyer.
Mhm.
Major.
Yes.
Major congratulations. Now you know that while he's a lawyer, he's going to really defend other people similar to himself. And we need lawyers like that, you know? And so it's amazing to see his life turned around, because what we've seen from other people that were part of the 6, they've said that even to this day, one of the Genesis, he has a book coming out. He said this, he said, you know, it's been like 10 years. This was a couple years ago. He's like, you know, it's been 10 years since this has happened. I'm a father. This still affects me.
Mhm.
You know, it still follows me
And
around.
they come from a small town. Gina is actually the town they live, or they're from,
Mhm.
and where they went to school. It's not big at all. So these people that went through that, they were infamous in this small town. And you know, you go to the Walmart, you go to
They
the
also, some of them tried to move away, had to relocate because of death
Yeah.
threats, and still to this day affects them.
But you know, it's like a family there, and for
That's
the time
true.
that they did spend there before they moved, you know, it probably was real tough. Because they wanted to see them boys go away for a long time.
100 years. 100 years.
I'm wondering, do you think they went through counseling?
Oh, yes.
I hope they did.
I
I don't know if
I don't
they
know,
did.
you know what I'm saying? But it's things like that I think about, like how something happens, and you know, they're saying they're starting to say that Black people naturally just have PTSD.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were talking
Yeah,
about that.
yeah,
That
yeah,
also is generational and can be passed down through
Right, but
genetics.
They definitely are now like really full-fledged, like waving the flag, like, look, Black people got problems.
Mhm.
You know, so when you have something like this that happens, I'm just saying, like, it's
I'm
just,
sorry,
yeah, they have
I
problems.
know,
They
like,
some-
yeah,
they
no,
around
you
some type
got
of problem.
problems. You got-
Guys, I
Got
gotta do just a come to Jesus moment real quick in the studio. All right, those of you that are watching on YouTube Live at Denella Now, what's up? Some people aren't, so I need to let the listeners know what's going on. So when I forgot that the radio station was celebrating Cinco de Mayo in a sense, and so Aladdin literally has the smallest sombrero on his head.
Yes.
So I'm just talking, we're just really, really talking, and I look over, he said Black people have problems.
And I have
And
a sombrero
and
on my head,
it's
baby
the,
sombrero.
it's like the size of a cat could wear the sombrero and how small it is. And then Zoe is to my left, dressed again like he's ready for war. He's either ready to play basketball or in camouflage, like he's hunting or going to war. All right,
We
so
are internationally
just be
ready.
just be patient with us tonight. I know we have a serious show, but
We
I
got
just
one
needed a
and the
really
seal.
Yes.
Yes. I just needed a quick reality check so you guys would know why I was laughing.
Border
because it was
control
like-
happening in the studio right now.
Speaking
no,
of border
I'm just
control,
saying.
hold on, because we'll get into political pop. I'll let you finish
Right.
your thought. Go
Right.
ahead.
I don't know. What was I talking about?
You were saying we got
We got
problems. Yes.
problems. I don't
And
know
and
where I
did
was
they
going with
get
this.
no, you bring up a good
No,
point.
right,
Did they
right,
get
right.
any type of counseling? Because
No, for sure.
regardless of who's at fault in the fight, everyone is a victim because
Right,
these are
yeah,
teenagers, and
right,
you're talking
yeah.
about something that they did as teenagers and their whole lives being affected, even as parents.
Yeah.
So
And you were thrown into this infamy with no intentions of being there. You know, whether you were like you said, the victim, or they were all victims. Not the guy that got beat up, because
Yeah.
what did he do before that? But the kids that did it and
Got
almost
involved.
got, they're
Mhm.
men now, but almost lost their lives.
mhm. And some were
To-
even saying
to
that
the
they
system.
didn't actually fight, but they were around and they got grouped up in it. You know.
Yeah, because there was a lot of those going on, a lot
Right.
of those skirmishes and little jumps and
And just for references,
Roles.
Black people in that high school at that time made up for 10% of the population. Just to kind of put it in perspective of when we say racial tension, it was legit racial tension.
yeah. And for those who don't know, Louisiana, it's, I mean, yeah, they
Below the
they
Dixon line.
still have it. They still have it.
Easily.
Well, I definitely want to give a big shout out to Theo Shaw because you
Yeah.
know, being in
Yeah.
a situation like that and letting that be his why as to why he's now becoming a lawyer and fighting for these cases. Like,
Mhm.
It's major.
I know it is.
Is major. So yeah, congratulations to him to just push through in this way, even for his family, because you know he didn't do it alone. He had a good
Yeah, for
support
sure.
system to get to this point.
Right.
And he's truly adverse in reverse. He is a reactor, and we love to see him and follow him as he makes positive change in the world.
I hope he takes it a step further though, also too. Like I hope he makes some type of documentary or movie
Mhm.
on this to kind of show
Yeah.
his coping process.
Right. And how
Because that's
Hoping,
something
that's major.
We
don't
definitely
know.
need to see that. You know, I
mhm.
think that would definitely be
to help
another.
heal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That's
Help heal
also a huge adverse in reverse as well. You know.
Mhm.
You couldn't be that close to the system when he said when he was in jail, he was watching and sitting with grown men crying and them telling him their stories. That's what inspired him to go to University of Washington, get his law
Wow.
degree, pass the bar, and become a lawyer that he is now.
That's amazing. Oh man. Okay, guys, let's get into political pop. Big problems again for Barr. I feel like I said that last night. We're still
I
saying
know,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he skipped out. He was like, another hearing. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
So he didn't
Oh,
go to
yeah.
today's hearing. He was like over that. And now Democrats are saying that literally he lied to Congress, and that's a crime. Y'all heard Nancy Pelosi? She ain't
Yeah,
having it.
she not playing.
All right, so here's where the debate is that he originally was saying that he was unaware that Mueller found like any discrepancy with Barr's summary
Right.
of the Mueller report.
Yes.
Well, then when he was testifying yesterday, he said, well, yeah, you know, Mueller, he sent me a letter, and then we had a conference call, and I had, you know, his team was taking some notes, you know, Mueller's team was taking some notes, and it's like, hold up a second, hold up. You said you were unaware if he would have, what was his thought on your thoughts? You
Right.
said you were unaware if he, you know, was in favor or against it. Like, that's a lie. That's a lie.
All the way.
All the way. But the question is, what are you able to prove?
Well, Mueller actually said something earlier this week. He sent
The memo?
sent Barr a memo and let him
Well,
know.
see, that's the letter that's in question that we now have access to seeing.
Right.
So it's like he sent that letter and had a follow-up call,
That's why he did it.
and Barr lied about it. And that's why everybody's confused. It's like you realize that when all these people are involved, not only can Congress subpoena, but the news people can
Mhm.
subpoena for this.
Mhm.
I always get it on FIFO, you know, we're talking about Freedom of the Press
Yeah.
Act.
Yeah.
We were talking about this, remember, guys?
Right.
They can call that and be able to get those notes. So the question is, why are you not telling the truth? And then it leads us to think,
As the Attorney General, we have
You
to
are a
remember that
liar.
he's the Attorney General.
right?
So for you to be lying in front of Congress, what kind of example are you setting?
And on your boy, you know, they were talking about, I saw news reporters were talking about the relationship between Mueller and Barr, and we're talking spanning decades. They've dealt with one another.
Mhm.
But even that Mueller was invited to the wedding of Barr's daughters.
Yeah, they cool for real.
That's like the wives were in Bible study. Like maybe they just happen to go to the same
Oh,
church, but
yeah.
usually Bible study ain't that big. Maybe they're in some mega Bible study
Right,
church and it's like
right.
400 people. I don't know what Bible study class that is.
Yeah, yeah.
But, right? But you know who's in Bible study with you. You know,
Yeah, that's
so it's like, why are you doing this? So here's the thing, guys. We're going to continue to watch this, and we just hope, we wait for the truth not only to be revealed, but to be acted on.
Well,
Not just revealed, but acted
well,
on.
Barr we already know what he's doing. He's aligning himself up with Trump. Trump put him in the position.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably feels that he has some obligations there to ride through it with him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he might be on the ship that's sinking, or he is on the ship that's sinking. It's to the point now where Pelosi is saying, I think he's like what you call it, to take Trump out of there with an eye.
Impeach
Trump. It's too good for him.
Oh man.
Pelosi said to
It
impeach
is.
him. It's too
Yeah,
good for him.
yeah.
We need to
It'll
play
help
this
him.
all the way out.
Yeah.
We need to play this all the way out because she's probably looking long term, and then for the 2020 election, if you really try to go aggressively after Trump and
it could be a win for him if it doesn't
empowering.
play out.
It empowers the conservatives.
Well, so reactors are reacting. Our phone number 1-800-450-7876. We have Charles on the line. Good evening, Charles.
Charles, you there?
Can you hear me?
We
Yes,
got
sir.
you now. Hey, what's your comment?
Okay. I was calling the reactor.
Yes,
Yes.
react, Charles. Go ahead.
You are a reactor.
Okay, well, when I was wanting to, I was listening to y'all yesterday, and y'all were talking about Trump and Venezuela and different things that's going on there the other day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Now, do y'all remember the movie Wag the Dog?
I didn't see. I know the title. I didn't see it. It was like a presidential movie, right? And they were like faking a president. What was they doing? Faking that somebody was a president. Remind us of the story.
Okay, now that's some homework.
Okay.
All right, you
All right.
guys
Yeah,
give us
yeah.
homework. Wag the dog.
Watch this movie, Wag the Dog, how they create wars, especially in a time of a presidential election coming up change. They know that the people will not, 95% of the time, will not change during midstream if there's a war going on
Mhm.
with the ingoing president. They normally won't change their
The vote. That's true.
and they'll keep the one in that's in during a time of war. So they're pushing real hard to jump in there in Venezuela and put boots on the ground so he can get a war to sway that vote of that popular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now I wanted to give homage to the brother John Singleton,
Yeah.
who really did a work consciously for us to make us look at ourselves. But when he's mentioned, he's never mentioned for the movie Rosewood.
Exactly.
Oh yes, yes.
Rosewood, if everybody needs to see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
High learning too.
Mm-hmm.
And see, it makes me like the comment that Snoop Dogg said when he said, "We don't need no more slavery movie." But the outcome of the Nat Turner movie showed that we need a little bit more, and because that movie, Birth of a Nation,
I still have to
flopped in the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So that show we didn't support that movie.
But remember-
we need more.
If you remember, that lead actor also had a huge scandal that came out right before the release of that movie, and people
Yeah.
started to boycott it.
Coincidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made sure that happened
Mm-hmm.
just to turn you off this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The movie was, when I went, it was probably like 12 people in the theater.
Wow.
They had
So
real low numbers.
Exactly. So, but John Singleton showed us higher learning.
Mhm.
And what we saw in higher learning is what we just saw in Charlotte with this boy that went in there with a pistol and shot at these people. And when I told you guys just a while ago, be aware of April the 20th, which was Hitler's birthday, a lot of these shootings were going to take place, and the church burning. This is what you saw in Notre Dame. This is what you saw in the 3 churches burned in the South. And
Was it Louisiana?
it was, yeah,
South.
in New Orleans, right?
Yep.
So when he showed us Baby Boy, he basically showed us how we are destroying our young men by mothering them. When a mother, she loves her son, but she raises her daughter. And showed in Tyrese in that movie that he became a mama's boy, what they call the Oedipus complex, where he's basically married to his mom. And it started out with Francis Cress Welsing teaching in the beginning of that movie when he was in the egg, talking about what does a man call his home, a crib? What does he call his boys? He was breaking down the concept of white supremacy that has destroyed mostly black men. And then the last thing, when he showed us poetic justice.
Yeah.
He showed us and how we are in our relationships towards one another, whether it be in the hood or because we can get together, but we can't stay together. And nothing makes white folks more happier than to see black folks apart, because they never wanted us to marry. That was one of the 3 sciences that they didn't want the slaves to learn, who they should be mating with, economics and warfare. So once we conquer those 3, we've really come together on the basis of those principles. So I just wanted to put that in there.
Always a pleasure.
I wanted to tell y'all something about when y'all were talking about psychological black people are messed up. Israel did a study, and this is real quick, and found that because of the Holocaust victims, they did a study, and they said that because of starvation, overcrowding, it caused psychological damage that related to cancer, physical damage, and psychological damage. So this is our middle passage, what has happened to us, and we suffer from that same stuff.
Yeah. That syndrome been passed down through generations. Thanks, Charles.
Yeah, thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Sheesh. It's crazy.
All right, Wag the Dog added to the adverse reaction
Movie list. We got homework, man. I love it, Jaggers. I didn't mean to switch. I know this is on my clock, and we didn't plan on talking about this, but have you heard Indonesia has to find a new capital? Jakarta is sinking. They're having a natural disaster right now where literally they're saying the whole country is going to go underwater.
at this very moment.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, because of that
I don't know, but
Jesus.
hurricane tidal wave?
they're saying it's sink. They're saying the city is drowned. Like literally, they're like, "Yo, there's no way we can save
The
this city."
What?
They're like, "Yo, we got to find a new capital."
It's like Atlantis.
Yeah.
Just sinking.
Mhm.
Wow.
So when you get a chance, if you just putting this out to our reactor, just
Mhm.
if you want to learn more about, I don't know much about what's happening, but I literally
It's
just got an
all
alert. Like,
Breaking right now,
yeah,
literally.
like Jakarta
Wow.
is sinking.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, we're gonna switch it up just a little bit, but it's still this is some news that's trending today that really makes you like, how? Not why, but how. So we have a school bus driver receiving no jail time after raping a 14-year-old girl. This happened in New York, not the city.
It's upstate, right?
Yeah, it's upstate.
Mhm.
And I just like,
So here we go.
the judge gives no jail time to the former school bus driver who admitted to raping this 14-year-old girl. His name is Shane Peach, Peachy or whatever, it's Piche. He'll get 10 years of probation after pleading guilty to the 3rd-degree rape and will be registered as a level 1 sex offender. He was also be charged with endangering the welfare of a child, providing alcohol for a minor, and unlawfully dealing with a child. He had to pay $375 in court fees, $1,000, along with $1,000 for being a special sex offender. Now, he doesn't even have to register his name in a database.
I thought he had to register, but not for his lifetime.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
'Cause I think it was he had to register, but not for his entire life.
Which is, why not?
Right. I think he's like 20 something to 22, something along there.
Why not?
All right. So here's the thing that
Privilege.
makes it correct. But
Privilege.
also what happened
Just to
was
start.
the assault happened at his house.
It did.
Yeah. And so, you know, you get these judges and they start thinking, well, why did the 14-year-old go to his house?
That's not even fair to ask,
Because she's a child.
because she's a child.
And clearly he gave said child liquor, alcohol.
Exactly. Which
Right.
definitely took her inhibitions away. And she probably didn't need that much. Like, we don't know if she was a serious drinker at 14 or not, but it probably
That'd
did.
be hard to do. She
Hey.
could, I mean, it could happen, but like she only is 14.
She's 14. So if you get one drink,
One drink, that's a lot.
you might pass out if
Correct.
that's the first time you have it.
Right.
So whatever the reasons that you might look at this situation, and maybe some people will compare it to like what she did, you know, to adults. Well, you did go over his house. What was you thinking
and
about?
and the judge said also because he only raped one girl,
Yeah.
and this is his first offense.
This is his first offense, and it was only one girl. So we don't think that he's really built for prison.
That's ridiculous.
We don't think he should do any jail time.
That's ridiculous.
And the mother was like,
What?
What?
What? Yes.
what?
He was a bus driver who slept with a child.
To me, bus drivers, teachers,
That needs to be a higher
police
standard.
officers,
Yes.
they need to be held to a higher
Definitely.
standard
Definitely.
and more severe punishments, because these kids are much more comfortable and they have their inhibitions down, they have their
They
protective
trust
shield.
you. You're there to trust. You're there to keep them safe, and they
Pastors, reverends, all
trust
that.
that. They
Yeah.
trust that you're keeping them safe.
Excuse me.
Oh, he's the bus
Oh.
driver. I can come to
Did
his
we talk
house.
about this on the show?
Which one?
I don't know. But do you know they're trying to pass a law where they're saying that by dropping your kids off to strangers, they want to hold the parents responsible for if anything happens.
How do you mean?
Let's say you take your kids to a school camp, right?
Oh yeah, or the gym. You go to
Yeah,
the
you
gym
go-
and they're like, "Oh, hold the kid in
Yeah,
the gym
yeah.
daycare,"
Right.
and that's a stranger.
Yeah.
If something happened. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
This is why I don't drop my kids out. Y'all know.
Yeah, no, really, they're trying to.
Yo.
They're trying. There was something going around where they were trying to pass a law where they want to say like if the parent leaves your child with a stranger and something happens,
And you sure it's not a stranger in the sense that remember there was a
Stranger.
situation where a parent left their child with a friend, but the friend left and the friend's daughter killed the child.
Yeah.
Remember we
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah,
that on the
right,
show?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but that's not even a stranger. I don't know. It's literally all of these cases make us question that concept of law and order and that concept of the crime, the punishment should fit the crime, because it's clear that only happens for some.
Right.
And for a lot who are similar to us, the punishment is greater than the crime.
Yeah.
Because how can you do, I don't know, steal jewelry, for example,
Mhm.
or take somebody's identity,
Right.
right? And let's say they get all their money back, but you got to serve jail time, but this man could rape a 14-year-old child
Mhm.
and not serve any jail time
I mean,
for rape?
no, it's people in jail for stealing something from the grocery store, yo. Like something that's $20.
Right.
They can go to jail for
For that.
And for him to,
Other countries are dead.
yeah,
Right.
so cut
Cut a hand. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not just the crime we're looking at. We got to look at what happens to the person that the crime was committed upon.
Mhm.
This girl is, you're talking about PTSD. Like, I mean, rape is like, that just comes with that.
That is, yep.
You know?
If you look up PTSD and what can happen for you to get it, sexual assault symptom.
Now, if she was trying to like hook up with this guy, and then the whole scheme got caught and he getting in trouble, she might not have PTSD. If she
She still would grow up and be like, what was I thinking?
what was I thinking? Yeah. Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
It wasn't statutory rape. Statutory rape usually is like some kind of consensual.
Well, that's closer in age too. Like,
But I mean, I don't know. Well, upstate, so they might have stricter rules because you know some. Sadly, we're looking at some places there where
some
it was like
states,
13.
some states you can
15.
actually mess with a girl who's 14
Mm-hmm,
or 16, 15.
mm-hmm.
Each state is different, but New York is obviously not one of those. But they felt enough leniency for this bus driver who obviously stole her virginity.
Yeah.
Or she might not even be a virgin, but I mean, still,
Right.
the sexual act, he raped her.
Right.
Well, you know what's the irony in all of this too, that I'm really looking and paying attention to, even going back to the bar situation, right? Like you said, you know, you want to know if the truth is going to come out.
Mm.
I'm
Right.
more so worried about, there's a saying, or the law of gravity, every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yes.
Right.
So
right.
it's like, all right, if there are no penalties for doing wrong for the higher ups,
Mhm.
what message is that going to send to the future of people that are running and or the kids that are looking at these situations? Because they're paying attention.
Well, he's
right.
not even a higher up.
Right.
I mean, I know, but I'm just
He's
saying. But it's
like in
just
bar, for example, all
everything.
these
Yeah,
people
there's
who
it's
get
like
scapegoat and
you
get
saying
off.
like, you know, eventually there's going to be some type of reaction that happens for all of these things. Like you consistently saying like you can do certain things and get off of certain things. So
What's the consequence to this?
there's going to be
What
some
is
type,
that?
right?
Karma?
And I know
You talking about karma?
I mean, yeah, but we
What are we going to
tend
see?
to focus on now, but
You're right.
think about
What's later?
yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he was by him getting serving her drinks.
Mhm.
He had to at least get her comfortable. So there was some.
You
Yeah.
never know.
But
He could have. What if he drugged her?
That's what I'm
in the
saying,
sense
like-
of, here's
like-
some juice.
Right. That's what I'm
There's
saying.
a
Like,
guy
We don't
that's
know.
This is-
81 sitting behind jail for.
Are you don't? You better not be talking about Cosby.
I'm just saying.
1-800-450-7876.
he did a lot
We
of
have
good
a
stuff.
reactor on the line. Did you say it was Ronald? Raymond. I'm so sorry. That's my godbrother's name. Raymond. Good evening. Anytime Aladdin starts talking about Cosby, I got to get cutting Aladdin off. Raymond, what's your comment this evening?
Sure, I want to voice my choice on this topic about this white boy raping that 14-year-old, regardless of what the circumstances were. If she admitted or she didn't admit, regardless, she was underage.
Yeah.
He was a rapist, and we're giving these Caucasians all this time with the heathenistic things that they do to people. Ain't no excuses for this white boy. He should be in jail. Should be really under the jail.
Mhm.
And we're making excuses for this white boy. That was a black boy. He'd be in jail
Easily.
right now. Matter of fact, he'd probably be dead.
No, they would have called him a monster. They would have called him a
Yes.
predator.
He was guilty.
Yes, yes.
And look here, y'all. Another story. Let me add this. A 16-year-old white boy, he raped a 1-year-old baby.
Oh my
No
God.
time for that trifling stuff.
No. No.
Look it up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Some people just don't even deserve
But you know
to
what?
walk this
The
way.
white parents, they the white boy, they said no, they didn't want him to go to jail. So they gave him leniency, and the judge agreed with that. Now that was me and you, our children.
Oh yeah. Child is
Wait.
an
The
adult.
16-year-old got off?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
What?
He got off. He's saying he got off. No jail.
Right. Look it up. And then another one. Let's get real with this. We start some white news on these white folks. I'm sick of these people talking about a 42-year-old white woman. She raped her 16-year-old daughter.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, y'all be gonna bring this to the surface.
I heard.
Ain't no jail time on the right sister white woman. The judge didn't give her no jail time. Two 16-year-old gave him weed, gave him liquor, raped her own daughter's boyfriend. Now, they are healing in the demon. I don't know what
Wait. He raped the daughter's boyfriend?
She, the mother. She
The
raped
mother?
her daughter's boyfriend.
By
Well, you know, it's rape. That's a child.
yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm tired of all this sugar coating, y'all. See, we got to get away from that we are the most people that commit crimes. No, that's a lie. See, we listen to today's stats. I'm 69 years old. I ain't looked at TV in 5 years. Don't plan on looking at it again. I read and I research everything I say. Do you know that they are finna start a program in California? Matter of fact, it I started in California schools where parents cannot pull the kids from a new LGBT sex education class, and they're teaching young kids from kindergarten to 12
Yes.
to use a dildo.
No, we heard they were teaching LGBTQ history and openness, but not toys. You sure about that?
Sister.
Oh, now I gotta look
Go ahead,
this
do it
up.
yourself. Pull it up.
We're gonna do our research.
Hold up.
From new LGBT sex act.
Hold up, Mr. Raymond.
George Soros is behind this garbage. We got a cool toolkit funded in part by George Soros. I'm reading the article now. He said they offer kids tips on using sex toys and anal lubricant.
What?
Anal lubricant is strong sex and more as common sexual behavior. It teaches that abstinence and virginity can mean engaging in a variety of sexual activity but stopping short of intercourse. And they ask if you cannot use sex toys. What can they use? Cucumbers, carrots, bananas. They great deal though. Just remember to use the condom. George Soros got that in the cool kit. The parents can't do nothing about it. If they do, they're going to be charged with keeping the kids out of school. Look that article up right now. It's called California School District says parents can't pull kids from new LGBT sex education. Y'all ain't teaching our kids how to be homosexuals in school. It's going to spread. Everything starts in California. You watch. It's going to spread. And we got to wake up, y'all. We got to quit depending on white folks to save, help and protect us. It ain't going to happen. These demon rats, these Republicans, they all in the bed with each other at 5 o'clock when you leave the office. They going to the really white clubs, laughing at black folks, thinking that they going to help us. And it ain't going to happen, y'all. I'm 69. I was in the movement. I ain't just talking. I was in the third revolution. There's no doggone peace and no justice. If it wasn't no peace, it ain't gonna be no justice. But y'all, we got to wake up, y'all. Please wake up, young people. We got to wake up and quit letting these crackers run this game on us. Please, y'all, wake up.
Raymond, listen,
Yes,
Raymond.
sir.
Thank you for calling, Raymond. Can I just say, guys, I didn't know when it was going to happen since we've been on the show. I tell people, Raymond, you had some good points. Thanks for waking us up. But I say, yo, our callers go so hard. I know they are one word away from cracker. And I can't believe Raymond did that. I was like, Raymond, you caught us off guard, Raymond.
Raymond was in his
Raymond.
feelings, and he was saying some.
And he caught me
He made
off
some-
guard.
he made
I'm
some
still looking
points.
up these sex toys and dildos because
He threw me off with that one. I was like, whoa.
I'm reading it and it's saying that I'm seeing that was a rumor, but then I'm also seeing that
He sounded like he was reading the article.
it's like if they did pleasure activists working for Planned Parenthood in some California high schools, then they would teach that. It was a lot, guys. All right, what are we unpacking? What are we unpacking? I just
But I'll say this though. He's crazy. I'll say this.
it shocked me.
Because
Only
when we think about
go ahead,
culture,
go
right?
ahead.
We have certain things that happen in our culture. And they may have certain things that happen in theirs. And it made me think when he was talking,
Mhm.
just back to the one documentary that I would say will help you understand a lot.
You better not
about-
go back to this
I am. I
documentary.
swear it is Abducted in Plain Sight.
I still
But
ain't seen it
it
yet.
makes sense.
All right,
What he was saying,
abducted in plain sight
Abducted
is.
in Plain Sight.
But guys, I'm gonna be honest.
I'm
with
just
you guys.
wondering if it's a cultural.
It's not.
It's not. You're absolutely right.
I'm gonna tell you. I
But-
come from a family that is culturally diverse
Mhm.
in the sense of saying, sea locks were white.
Mhm.
Were because I switched all that up. But so did my sister.
Are you the first generation? Kind of.
Yeah. Well, my mom technically, she's black and white.
Okay.
So she was technically the first generation, but in a crowd, you not claiming her and us.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
but I say this to say that
You mean the white people not gonna claim it?
no, I mean like with my mom, if I'm like, I remember being like, King's Dominion or Six Flags. And if I was ever like, oh, there's mom, that was usually a white woman.
Mhm.
So I'm saying that, or maybe a
When you talking about
Hispanic
your
woman,
grandmother?
like my mother, she is a black woman, but I'm saying, when I say we changed it all up, it's like, we're clearly black.
Gotcha.
I'm the clearly black generation.
Right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
All right, there we go.
It's no mistaking.
It's no confusion.
Right.
Right. I say to say it's difficult for me, like, to hear some of the reactors go super hard in the sense of saying that my grandmother raised me, my mom was a teen mom. So emotionally, it's kind of, obviously I am more of an inclusive person. I think Zoe, you're the same thing. You too, Aladdin. I think you say those things. So anyway, when you talk about abducted in plain sight and how that family allowed their child to be literally abducted multiple times in plain sight. That's basically what the premise is.
Right.
There's a family whose child was sort of coerced, kidnapped, but like multiple times. Like, come on, how you gonna get your child abducted? I don't think
Multiple times the same kid.
Yeah,
Same person.
same person, same child. So anyway, I just think we got to be real careful about sweeping generalizations.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So in that movie, I'm like, I don't know if it's a Southern thing or something like that. Like the people that you're talking about, how ignorant they were in a sense. Like, I don't know if it's just like.
Yeah, I mean, blanket statements just are not.
It's dangerous.
No,
it serves no
They
purpose.
definitely
I mean, but when you get into your feelings, and especially those, our people have been disenfranchised, we've been bamboozled, we're hurt, we have PTSD.
Yeah.
So you see, like, us coming to a point where it's like,
and the different eras, they've experienced different things.
Right.
Yeah,
as
that's
well,
true.
you
The
know what I'm
different
saying?
eras.
So
Yeah.
it's
That
gonna
makes a
cause
difference.
70 years old.
Yeah.
Raymond, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
So
69.
he's-
So he's letting us know.
He's
I mean,
been
he-
through some things,
Yeah.
He brings up a good point. Okay, now we have Ron on the line from North Carolina. North Carolina knows well.
Absolutely. Anybody else that's listening, if you want to jump in, 1-800-450-7876.
Ron, you're on the line with Adverse Reaction. Good evening.
Good evening, y'all. I'm feeling with the previous caller. I can feel his pain.
Yeah.
You see all those guys get away. And there was a story about the black guy in Kansas who got convicted of rape for just kissing the girl.
Oh, right. I know. Remember we were talking about that on our show, that there was a college student who hooked up with a girl in a bar.
But he didn't. Yeah, there was no
He
sexual.
said,
right,
they couldn't prove any sexual
Right.
intercourse. And he got convicted. You're absolutely
Right.
right. Yeah, we can't even forget him. Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
And those are two adults, right? They were. She was she 18?
No, she was.
Well, she was.
She got in underage, 17,
17.
in a bar.
And he had a fake ID.
Yeah, but they both shouldn't have been in the bar.
The boy was 20 and the girl was
Yeah.
17.
But he
Both
had to have
under
a
the-
fake
She had the
Both
fake
under-
ID.
oh,
Maybe
shit.
just got in
He just
looking
wasn't looking
older, but
older.
she
Right.
showed a fake ID.
Okay.
I mean, but it just shows you that, the justice system, definitely don't treat us equally. I mean, he just convicted with no evidence of any penetration.
Exactly.
And these guys, there's evidence, and they all.
And then if a judge is going to show leniency, that's a case that you would, because you're like, okay, you're in a bar, you're assuming that this person that you're about to hook up with or whatever is of age, because I think the club or the bar is more liable than the.
Should have been, because
Yeah.
she should have never been in there.
She shouldn't have been in there.
Exactly. Now, I think Aladdin was also making a point earlier about, you see all these people higher up get away with things, like Trump and all his crew.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, everybody's going to be like, well, they get away with things. Well, how you going to enforce stuff on us?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, Trump told us what he do. Or,
Yeah,
or
sure
what he
did.
used to do, or what he's still doing.
Grab him by the cats.
Yeah, I mean, if they like be held accountable, then how do they going to hold me accountable for what I want to do?
Right.
You're right.
What I want to do.
You're right.
And then it's a slippery slope, and society just sort of fall off, unfortunately. But that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
on that.
Thank you for calling. Thank you so much for calling. And I love to hear our reactors from all over the country. And we're just blessed to have a show where we can hear somebody that, let's say, is even 69 or up to 75. We've had callers 78, callers as young as 24,
Yep.
just telling us about their various perspectives. And I'm grateful that we have this platform
Mhm.
in order to hear people that were in the movement then, and then also people that are in the movement now.
Right. And then the ones that are going to be in the movement, because we have the youth listening to us too.
Mhm.
Now they don't call in, but they listen.
Mm-hmm,
And then they'll bring up a subject or something that was said on the show and give us their take on it. So it's beautiful.
yeah. So we're gonna have to watch this. I can tell you on the playground, I see these things happen in the sense of these entitled children where you're looking like this behavior is not acceptable anywhere.
Mhm.
And you're seeing it on one end, you're like, oh, maybe parents are distracted, but you can clearly tell this child has, we used to call it, I'm sure people still call it this, home training. It's like
Right,
home training. But I think these are young Trumps in the making, because you're teaching
We don't
these
need no more of
children that, yeah, it's like you're better than everybody else. You can do whatever you want. Throw dirt on the other kids. Say whatever you want. Take toys,
You can
snatch
get away with it.
toys.
You can get
Yeah.
away with it. You can get
And they
away
watch, yeah. It's tough. I'm thinking about changing my name to Danella I Fight Kids, C-Lock Benign. I had a
Because-
friend that was her name, and I was like, when I have a child, I hope I don't need that name. But I'm like, you might have to introduce yourself like that.
Your girl had to fight a few kids.
Because she was from the UK and she was really short. She's a makeup artist. She's so talented. But anyway, she was like, my name is Unique I Fight Kids London. So she was saying like, don't test my child. But I feel that way even on the playground, man, because you see some things happen and I'm like, all right, I know you three, I gotta check myself.
Yeah.
But like I wouldn't even discipline my own child in that way. But you know, it's hard to see somebody try to take advantage of your child
Right.
because
Especially if they
their
put hands on
parent
them. Especially if they put hands on them.
parent isn't
Now,
teaching anything else.
I know this is kind of out my realm, but do you think that these are the moments where they can be teaching moments?
Yes. And so as a parent, I've learned to try to take an adult stance of I am an adult. I have a right to
Right,
say something to this child.
Right. Well, that, and I think maybe, and I don't know if this is, I know this is probably where things can probably go left, but if you say, hey, listen, I'm just coming to you as a parent, I think we should take this moment instead of showing that, you know, we're going to fight, argue, blah, 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 that we come together and we teach together. I know that's deep.
All right.
And
I won't have to process that because in my mind, I think it'll sound something like this. I think we should take this moment and cry.
all right, hold on.
I like kids and adults.
We're going to let you think on that. We'll be right back. It's
Let's go
adverse
get ready.
reaction.
Man, like, I'm coming to help you today.
I know.
I'm gonna come help you, young lady.
Yo, my nanny Carla go hard though. She go harder than that. I cannot take you seriously.
I know, right? Yeah.
We're like
I'm wearing
real
this all weekend.
conversations, Yo.
I'm wearing this all
Oh my
weekend.
gosh.
I'm
How
gonna put it on
can
a
we-
chain. I'm gonna put it on a chain and just have it.
Totally should. Totally wear it all weekend. Oh my God. Are you hosting any parties?
I think actually.
What you about to buy?
No, I just want to make sure. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Makes sense.
You still out
Nice.
there.
I miss because when you start becoming more plant based, you can't really eat at Mexican restaurants as much. They
Oh,
don't really have a lot of.
salad. You can eat
No.
rice and vegetables. Fajitas.
So it gets kind of tough. It's tough. You could do vegetable fajitas, but you can't put anything on it.
Put sour cream.
Not if you're vegan.
Why?
Sour cream.
What's in sour
That's
cream?
dairy.
There.
You can't put cheese on it. All the fun
Vegetarian can
stuff.
have that, but not a vegan.
Yeah, not a vegan. So we don't go as much because my husband's been more plant
Is that
based.
vegan where like you don't wear leather and all of that?
No,
Oh.
he wears.
I don't
leather.
know. I don't really
No, that's how some
I know some
vegans
people,
are like
yeah.
that.
Some are like
I know
that.
they're like hard.
Nah.
I wasn't sure like how hardcore
Don't
you
they
guys
make
is going
Jordans
with
in
it.
leather? You wear that. He wears
Yeah,
the
I
leather.
know, right?
Just more for diet reasons. Oh, what's wrong? Gonna get us with our drinks in here. Okay.
Tell them fire us.
That was good. What you gonna do? Yeah, you get the rest of this hour and all of them. Well, guys, thanks for joining us on what's this YouTube Live. Alana, why don't you over to YouTube Live?
I need to. I don't. I'm not connected to Wi-Fi. Since they switched it up.
Really? Oh.
I mean, they
You
switched
gotta-
the things up.
Then we can be on all
yeah,
kinds
I
of-
know, right?
All kinds of people like talking to you. They be like, "Hey, Aladdin."
Quit up!
Kita. Yeah, like Akita, like Shakita. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I know. What are we gonna do?
Be sure to grab his new
There's got to be something that puts like energy back in you.
Right.
That's like not gonna kill you.
Good excuse.
It's not gonna kill me. Zoe better hurry up. What are we talking about? These are good questions.
Open up your mind, let your
So we can bring this back up if you want,
conscience
or
free.
you can go to the Offset story because that's also like Law and Order continuing. You see your, you can read it here if you want. Let me enlarge it.
We're talking about It's a Fiesta on adverse reaction right here.
Guys.
WWOL.
No one knows
Sorry,
it's a
guys,
Fiesta
I know,
unless you're
I
on
know,
YouTube Live.
I
Then you know it's a
know.
Fiesta. I'm going to repeat this for our listeners that are just joining us. Somehow at the radio station, they were celebrating Cinco de
Yeah,
Mayo,
we said let's have a little party.
and Aladdin still has on the smallest possible
Sombrero.
sombrero,
Yes.
literally cat size.
Yes.
So that's why it's a Fiesta.
Although
Although
literally like it fit on a chihuahua's head.
easily
Easily.
a chihuahua.
Easy.
Somehow you're wearing it,
I am.
and we're
And it makes me happy.
having a normal conversation.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
Right.
that's the weird part.
heavy topics. But
Right.
on the other side, we were talking kind of about
Law and Order and Justice. Yeah, we're talking
Yeah.
about that on the other side. It looks like our reactors are still reacting a lot. You want to call it real quick?
yeah, of course. 1-800-450-7876 is the number. Our guy Ron, program director, is in the studio. He's giving us a thumbs up. Man, we're doing an amazing job. Kane, you are on with adverse reaction.
How you doing this afternoon, family?
Oh, Kane, how are you?
I can't complain one bit, not one. Not one. No reason to. No.
Amen.
I came in a little late because I was in the store. Now, what happened on this playground? You don't mind me asking, family?
Kane.
I fight kids.
Kane, I'm so sorry. All right, so
Yeah.
here's how it happened. We're initially talking about Law and Order in the sense of saying that, you know, the punishment should fit the crime, but we're seeing over and over, whether it be Trump, whether it be Barr, in the sense, all these people have these punishments that don't fit the crime, and some people aren't punished at all. And so Aladdin posed the question of what happens when kids now grow up watching all of this disparity, in the sense that, oh, this person can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
get away with it. And I was just saying, you know, on the playground, I've seen that type of behavior already. And we're talking like 3-year-olds, you know, 2 and 3-year-olds, of this entitlement, leading me to wanting to change my name to Danella I Fight Kids, See Life and Out.
But she really good.
That's actually quite intriguing because I know I said a lot and become redundant, but if you pay attention to people's tendencies and their temperaments and what they've done in the past, when you're talking about Europeans and you're talking about taking away someone's freedom, that's something that they've always been enamored with. That's something that they've always taken above and beyond, and that's something that has never had the word justice in it whatsoever. They have never done anything on a level of justice. They've done things like, we don't have a justice system. That's insane to think we have a penalty system. We have a penalty
I can
system.
see that.
And I mean, you can look back to any era of social European history. Okay, you can go back to England in the 13, 14, 1500s during feudalism. I mean, matter of fact, prime example. I'm pretty sure at least one of you seen the movie Braveheart.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, William Wallace didn't play no game. One of those Englishmen. Matter of fact, that wasn't the movie. I'm sorry, that was actually a documentary when I was watching. And I looked at some other historical stuff. One of those Englishmen walked up to him and said, "I want your knife." Because he was an English noble ruler, you could come take what you want from the sky. And William Wallace gave him the knife, right in his gut. He gave him like right to him. That what you're talking about with Trump is, that is absolutely, positively nothing new. I'm in control. I can do what I want. That is typical. I mean, atypical. I mean, it has been in every facet of this society. And when you're talking about things that they did on a inhumane level, right now we're at a point where we're going to see that become as brutal, but in a new fashion as it was in the Roman days. Eventually, if you're going to start seeing things that don't make any type of sense whatsoever, I mean, when you're talking about, think about something that you want to do on purpose. We have an entire system that are run by a dominant society where people of a certain race and color are always, I mean, when you're talking about taking away young men's lives and they didn't rape anybody,
Yeah.
you're taking away his life. I'm telling you this right now. Somebody takes away my son, and all of DC is going to pay. I don't have no middle ground. I don't have no middle ground. You're not going to tell me that my son is going to serve his life in prison while his daddy out here not doing nothing, and he didn't do nothing. Somebody going to pay for that, and they either going to kill me or they're going to put me in there with my boys. You're not taking my son from me. And until black people as a collectively have that mindset, because I mean, I couldn't imagine somebody saying your son's life is gone and he didn't do anything. I mean, just thinking about that gives me shivers. I couldn't imagine what those mothers were going through, those uncles were going through, those fathers were going through, hearing that their sons' lives, their nephews' lives are being taken away. If this is something that's done on purpose, the rocket science is not, if this person did not do a crime, let's throw him in prison. That is intentional. And I'm glad that we brought up the diversity within our families. I'm glad we brought up the diversity in our families, and we said, okay, we can't put people on a general topic, on a statement. I think we're past the point of that. And I'll say this, not to be a butthole or narcissistic, but the reason I say this is because you have to look at the evidence. You have a country that had over 400 years with an entire society, an entire dominant society. The ones who owned slaves and did not say it is okay to take away the human rights of these people, and we have no problem with it. We had an entire dominant society that said once they come out of slavery, let's treat them like dogs. Now we had individuals who did not do that, and they should be saying, okay, this person did this during this time, but as a whole, we all got that in our family. I'm dark skinned, but I'm not as African dark skinned as I am. Master Mo got it in my family somewhere. I got a white ancestor like 5 generations down. I don't know his name and don't care about him. But we have to understand that these people collectively have allowed this, supported it, and championed it now. You can't deny evidence that's right there in our face. Is it wrong to make a general statement? Yes. But when an entire people generally says that another general people deserve to be treated without human rights, what is else there for us to say?
Now, let me ask you this really quickly, Kane. So, we're always about trying to influence and make positive change, right? So
Correct.
My question on the other side was you having a son. If there's a moment where your kid is on the playground, right? Is there a way that we can use this as a teaching moment? And my question to Danella was, can you go to the parent? And I know how this is. It's like, don't tell my kid how to do X, Y, and Z. Whatever. We know one thing. We pull the phone out and we put them on blast. They have no choice but to act in a certain way. So my question is, if there is a situation with, let's say, your son and somebody else of another race on the playground, would you go to the parent and say, hey, listen, let's make this a teaching moment for both of them and show them that instead of being in,
absolutely not. And I'll tell you
okay,
why.
go ahead.
Every single moment around my son is a teaching moment. Everything
Right.
we do is teaching, okay?
Uh-huh.
You can't go to somebody like that if their mind is ignorant. Now, if my son is doing something he's not supposed to on the playground with someone's child, it is my responsibility to go to my son. And I do. When I see my son doing something else, my son is too. Papa hop on top of him. Papa hop on top of him right then. If there's a parent who's blatantly letting their child do something, no. You go to their child and you say, you back up off my kid and you move him out the way. And then you deal with parents. Because see, I shouldn't have to do that. It is not my responsibility to check your child. So if you choose not to do that, I'm going to make sure mine is okay. If you're sitting back and you're doing nothing, if a child is doing something and a parent comes over there, hey, stop that business right now. I got no problem with that. Matter of fact, I shake their hand. Let's have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? We can talk about whatever. We can talk about anything. But if you are sitting there allowing it, no. You don't have that sense of self-entitlement thinking that you're going to let your child do shit. It's not going to happen with mine. It's not going to happen with mine. No, absolutely not. People know exactly what they're doing. And when you allow your child to do that, that is one of the most indicative signs of, I believe that I'm better than you. I believe that our children are better than you. Like I said, you think Romans stop their children from beating up Andrew's children, from beating up Gothic children, from beating up children from Syria? Absolutely not. They were put in their place. And if this country was the way that it says it is on paper, I'm not going to say this radio show will exist, but 90% of the conversation we have wouldn't be on the topic because there wouldn't be a topic. If it's a topic, it's a reason. When you have people in power who allow things to happen, it's never a mistake. It is never a mistake. It's always on purpose.
All right, Kane, listen, I'm so sorry. We are running out of time, Kane. Thank you so much
But
for
you know we
calling.
love you, brother.
Yeah,
we
man.
appreciate you so
Kane
much.
always, reactors,
dropping
dropping
gems,
gems.
man.
Guys, we'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for listening this evening to Adverse Reaction. Adverse Reaction.
Yeah.
Getting hyped up.
No word in your language.
Guys, before we go out of here, yeah, he did go in, Shakita. He went in. I literally, when I tell people to listen to our show, I'm like, I don't know when this is gonna come. Remember, Zoe? I think I told you this. I might have told it to Shakita too. I was like, yo, our reactors go so hard that they are one call. We one call away every show for somebody saying cracker. It happened tonight. I was like, yo.
He was 69.
He was 69.
He
He
knew better.
knew what he was doing. He was like, I'm amongst family, and this is what it is. But so grateful to our reactors. Thank you guys for watching. Chiquita getting in the early, as she said, our callers go hard. She's getting in early on the Cinco de Mayo. Aladdin, one more shout out for your hat, the smallest hat in America.
Tell her to say that.
What is on your shirt?
Tell Shakita she,
Oh, that's crazy. It's a check with a soccer ball.
Oh, it's a check.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bomb.
No.
I got confused.
tell her she got to bring something up for us for
Bomb.
Cinco de Mayo.
Bonga.
Oh, bomb.
Like a bowl.
Oh, it does look like a ball.
It looks like a
Oh, a
bowl.
little saxophone, but yeah, it's a check.
How do you know it's no hand? It's
It's a
no.
V.
It's no. Oh, okay. I'm
Boosie
checking.
McCullough.
Boosie, he still
Boosie.
make clothes.
Yeah.
I ain't see Boosie in 1,000
Yeah.
years.
It's a V.
What? All right, no disrespect on the bomb shirt.
Yes.
It's V.
It's a V.
Dang. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Zoe, you have anything to say before we say goodbye?
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. Don't forget about it.
It's like days away, guys.
Hey, we got to get ready.
All right. Keita, thank you so much for being on the chat with us.
Oh, for those
of
that
you-
don't know,
Oh.
Cinco de Mayo is not Mexican Independence Day.
Not at all.
It is the Battle of Pueblo. For those that don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
They
They won the battle. They
It
won
was
the
a battle. It wasn't like their
Yeah.
official July 4th. Like,
No.
Oh,
It's
then
not-
why we-
it's not Independence Day.
Then why we drinking so much?
well,
Because they drink and, you know,
because
everybody.
capitalism. They figured out a way to make money. All
Oh.
it is about that.
All right.
About their life.
It's like Christmas drinking.
About their life.
Drinking
Everybody
Christmas.
wants
People
it.
do.
Irish people. Everybody's.
Any
Every
reason
day.
to celebrate.
Day. You know how that goes.
All right, guys, we will see you next time. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Yay! That's a long yay. All right.